right, our next roaster is, flip the screen there.
You forgot already?
Darry Nagel, yeah. I'm trying to say something like that. Darry said that he's a little nuts. We all know that. But so long as I make him laugh, they ain't gonna lock me up. That's not true. They ain't gonna lock me up again.
Well, after listening to some of these speeches tonight, I've learned something. According to the United States Constitution, everybody has the right to be a fool, but some of these guys are taking advantage of the privilege. Many of you from Shema might not recognize me. Actually, Mike and Lynn Armbruster and my wife Debbie and I are pretend in-laws, but that's a whole other story. And the rabbis, they keep me around for the same reason that the Levites used to keep the scapegoat. I do come to Shema on occasion, not very often because I don't like to dress up. And I don't understand what it is. At Shema, you know, they require the Baptist uniform, you know, the suit and the tie and all that crap. I don't do that kind of stuff. When you think about it, it's pretty ridiculous because, I mean, Shema it's run by Jews. It's, you know, they're proud of their Jewish heritage. They're proud of their religion. They're proud of their priesthood, the Levites. But you can't come in Levi's. What's that? Mr. and Mrs. Harris, I really want to thank you for coming tonight. It was a pleasure to meet you guys, and it's great that you came all the way from California for this. We just want you to know that Glenn truly is deeply loved, no matter what's said here tonight. But I do think that it's hilarious that you know, he's married, he's a father, he's a rabbi, he's the associate rabbi of a large Messianic congregation. The man's over 50 years of age. We watched him get spanked by his dad tonight. That was When Glenn was young, he was quite the free spirit. He used to operate his life from that familiar old Greek proverb, Veni, Vidi, Velcro. I came, I saw, I stuck around. That all ended one day when he met this beautiful woman, and he knew that his roaming days were over. Alexandra wasn't quite so sure. She's as smart as she is beautiful, and so she kind of devised a backup plan just in case things didn't work out. To this day, Glenn thinks her name is Sasha. So if she ever skates, Glenn's going to have everybody looking for the wrong one. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but Glenn worked for several years with Jews for Jesus. And actually, it didn't end very well. He was almost responsible for the death of David Brickner. You know, Glenn's the idea guy. He's always coming up with these great ideas. And he had this fantastic idea. He told David, he said, yeah, we need to start a motorcycle division for the Jews for Jesus. And David's like, are you kidding? Well, what would we call it? Glenn says, Jewish Hogs for Jesus. And David almost had an aneurysm. But Glenn had a deep desire to witness to people on motorcycles because he loved riding so much. He was trying to figure out a way that he could make this work. He decided to join the Iron Coffins gang. All right. All right. So he goes down to the clubhouse on a Sunday morning, which of course is still Saturday night for the Iron Coffins. He knocks on the door, and this deep voice from behind the door says, "Yeah, what do you want?" And Glenn says, in his little Jewish voice, I want to join your gang." The guy opens the door, and there stands Lucius. He's 7'13", 430 pounds. This little tiny Jew standing in front of him. And he says, "So you want to join our club, huh?" Well, above then all these bikers are coming out of the dark crevices of the clubhouse. You got about 30 of them standing around you. Glenn says, "Yeah." He takes his helmet off and his yarmulke falls off. Strike one, that starts rumbling right away. So Lucius thinks it's pretty funny. He says, "Well, you don't look like much of a biker to me. You look like a teetotaler." Glenn thought, "Glad I brought my flask. This way I can prove to him that I'm a biker." So he reaches in his back pocket and pulls his flask out. Lucius says, "What you got in there, Jack Daniels?" He says, "No, Blackberry Manischewitz." So now Glenn's getting a little bit nervous because these guys are looking at him kind of strange. And Lucius says, "Look, kid, if you want to join our gang, everybody in our gang rides the right motorcycle. What kind of motorcycle do you own?" Well, Glenn's really nervous now. And he's been a Jew a lot longer than he's been a biker. He says, "Well, I have a Harley Davidson." They jumped on there. He got on Southfield Freeway, heading back to Birmingham. These guys are going to kill him if they catch him, but when he hit 115 miles an hour, his saddlebag blew open and a 5,000 pack of Juice for Jesus tracks blew up. Covered all the helmets and bikes, and he got away. And it worked. It was a job back, right? Early on in Glenn's biking days, he wasn't very astute with motorcycle kind of things. In fact, we have the same insurance agent. His insurance agent was a friend of mine, and he was telling me that when Glenn went to get his bike insurance, he asked him. He wanted to know if there was a lien holder on his bike, and Glenn says, "Well, I have a kickstand." He's been riding a long time now. He's getting a lot better at it. In fact, I understand he actually can identify bugs by their taste now.
He has killed poor guy.
And he wants his motorcycle riding to reflect what he does for a living. So he just had a yarmulke painted on the back of his helmet. And hey, did you bring that picture up? He had his, no, the other one. He had his prayer shawl sewn on his leather. He paid a lot of money to have a special horn installed on his motorcycle. It sounds like a shofar blowing. Of course, if you ever heard Rabbi Glenn on the radio, you always get the Rabbi's road safety tips. He's this anal freak, safety freak. He had special handlebars made so that his hands are always in the 10 and 2 position. Glenn, we love you, and as a way of encouragement, I just want to say to you, always remember that you are unique, just like everyone else. Sit down, I ain't done yet. I have to tell you something before I sit down, because the guy that's coming up next, I have to qualify this. Bob Duco is coming up next. By the window. Bob only knew me as Darry from Superior Township until recently we had a more formal meeting. He didn't come up here crying about his personal protection order being violated. I don't know what the big deal is, Bob. Nobody else was living in your basement with me. Nobody was using it. I hadn't knocked over that precious antique Tiffany lamp in the middle of the night coming upstairs to get a drink of water. You still wouldn't know I was down there. By the way, your wine rack is empty. Please restock me. I drank all the good wine, both bottles. Yeah, highfalutin radio guy like you can afford it better than us. Who got wine? So, in closing, I just want to say, if by any chance he tells you any other stories about things that have happened, I want you to know I wasn't there when that happened, and they dropped those charges, okay?